Okay, so I don't do the prophecy thing, but I have the spirit of prophecy. And my relationship with spirit is such that I am prayerful, and I'm so in tune that in my religion, which I'm a Hindu, which I don't consider it to be a religion because Hinduism is not actually a religion. It's a practice. It's a spiritual practice. I have a direct line to God, literally. I literally do. You know, we have avatars that are here in the earth, you know. It's interesting, but it's like Christian people believe that Jesus came in a body. He was an avatar of your God, Jehovah. Right? You believe that, but you do not want anyone else to have that. But I have that. You know, our God is in meditation on a mountain called Kailasa in China, in Tibet, in China. He's sitting in meditation. And he does. He comes in a body when there are problems. The other God, Vishnu, is here in a body. So, all of these strange things that you've been seeing, because remember that it says that we wrestle not with, in your book, it says that we wrestle not with men, but actually spirits and principalities. So, these people are involved in divination, and they are involved in um spiritual reading. All the things that have happened in the last few years are because of a spiritual ascension and a spiritual awakening that is occurring, but we're not really quite awake yet, as you can see by the reactions. um they still want to keep people asleep, and so I look at the woke movement, and I laugh, because if we were awake, then we would be doing a lot more than standing outside in front of buildings and moaning and groaning and singing like it's 1950. We would actually be organized, because we would have a leader and leadership to actually organize. And when I got back from China in 2020, the spirit led me to create an organization for our people based on conversations that I had with the late Cardinal Edmund Shaka. He would say that even if you can't ever prove racism against your people, you can always prove the lack of ethics in the treatment of your people, because white people are very unethical in the way that they deal with your people, period. You can always prove that. I mean, hands down, there's never a real good a good argument ethically for the way that our people are treated. And so I created an organization called People for the Ethical Treatment of African Americans. And I abandoned that because I watched some other people starting to try to create their organizations, and they absolutely positively received no traction whatsoever. And so I thought to myself, I said, it's 100%, uh, it's a waste of time. But as I sit here and I'm watching, the spirit is revisiting me, and the spirit is telling me, no, this is why I told you to create this organization, because your people do need leadership, and you are a real leader. I'm a real leader. I have a PhD in leadership. The fact of the matter is that if there were any people out there that really did want to actually take to task this nation, and uh and recreate, uh create something that was very positive for everybody, not just for for our people, because we have to live here together. We are all one nation. Lord Shiva showed me all mankind living together in peace in a dream before, and it was the most beautiful dream I've ever had in my life. So I know that it's something that is definitely that's possible. There is, if people can remove their egos and let go of things from the past and have the integrity to actually move forward, and also to listen to and to accept everybody's truth, because we listen to all these different uh fabrications, but we don't want to actually hear the truth. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing how we're forced to swallow and eat, bad medicine, which uh my good friend called menticide. We're forced to take this menticide, and we're forced to be sick and mentally ill in this society by these people who are controlling, the program right now. But they're losing control of that program. The software is being changed. You can change the software, you can change the DNA, you can change the software that exists in this matrix. And Hinduism shows you how to do that. It shows you how to do that. And I'm going to just say this to you. Um it wasn't by mistake that in this movie, Hebrews to Negroes, when they take you back to your original man and your original woman. And when you get there, you are dead smack in the center of Hinduism, because you're with Brahma, and you are with Sarwasti. You are with Abraham, and you are with Sarah. The way that they changed and created this fake book that everybody's dying over and willing to kill over, this fake book that y'all have, um and that you're willing to, die over. And it's also no mystery that they didn't stay there where they needed to stay. So that's where you need to stay. That's where you need to go. That's where you need to explore. You need to explore more of that root, as opposed to the fictitious things that have been created after that. Okay. And that root is the Vedas. That root is the Hindu scriptures. Nobody should be allowed to take you someplace and show you something, and then not completely explain that to you, and not completely allow you to explore that. That's like when I was a Christian, because my mother was a PK. My biological mother was a PK. And then in the catechism, my foster mother was a Cardinals kid. She was high ranking in the Catholic Church. So and then on my father's side was the is Kojic and holiness. And you don't get to just be playing around with the scriptures, right? So, from y'all's perspective. But as a scientist, from that perspective, I knew what it was that they were going to do, because basically the goal is to continue to keep you in this fake stuff. But an idea whose time has come is an idea whose time has come. This thing has come, and it is time for this new thing. It's time for this, okay? And I wasn't exactly sure. I said, well, I'm not going to continue and say to myself, oh, well, I'm sure. And, oh, this is the right thing to do, because I always try things. I always try things spiritually, and I always go to things in the spirit realm. I don't deal with my problems in the physical realm unless I have to, unless my spirits tell me this is something that's in the spirit, in the physical realm, that you have to deal with in the physical realm, because everything manifests out of spirit. And if you spend time doing things like in Kriya, Nithyananda who is the embodiment of God on this planet. That is why they are chasing him. They are not chasing him because he has done anything wrong for real. They are persecuting this man in this body because of his spiritual abilities and who he is. And people need to actually know that. One reason that they're doing it beyond his spiritual abilities, they're afraid of this man choosing a wife and choosing to produce, because they're afraid that he'll produce a god. And there are prophecies against certain things. There are prophecies against certain entities and certain beings on this earth that you don't know anything about, because these prophecies are hidden from you. Okay? And when these people see these signs, they see these signs. They see the signs. Okay? So when they're seeing these signs, that's why they're making all of these different moves and they're doing all these different things. If you have not noticed, they have been doing every single thing that they can to try to control the power and to try to control the energy of Israelite Moorish people on this planet. It is absolutely not a joke. It is a fact. In the last 3 years, they have been doing everything that they can. They want to define us, and they manipulate and use our energy for their cause, the way that they want our energy to be used. Okay? Black Lives Matter. That's how they want our energy to be used. They want to harness that energy and that power of our voice for them. The LGBTQ community, they are doing so much for the LGBT community. They've done nothing to try to heal something that they tore down. They tore down. I have academic proof. You cannot get in my face, because I'm a scientist and I have academic proof of every single thing that they have done to tear down the American nuclear family, period. But the Israelite Moorish family in particular, all right? They have done this. They've deliberately have gotten themselves involved in this, and they have done this. This is what they have done. And the LGBTQ movement is part of that. Just as Frances Cress Welsing said, it is a part of that. And Spirit has spoken about that. It will be a trend. It is going to be a fad within 20 years. Of course, there are people, because it's not biological. Science has spoken, and we know that it is not biological. There are no biological markers. There are no genetic markers for this thing. This is a lifestyle. This is a preference. This is also a mental situation. And I'm just going to call it that. Okay. And they're hiding even that. They're hiding studies that are showing issues with it. They're hiding it. They're hiding murder statistics. They're hiding a lot of different things. Self-harm statistics. They're hiding a lot of things, because it falls in their agenda to sterilize and to neutralize the Israelite Moabite, Moorish people. Just like Francis Cress Welsing said that it would. Now, they are afraid because the prophecies, they see the signs of the prophecies. They see these gods. There are gods walking the earth. Your Bible, if you are a Christian, tells you that there are other gods that your God is jealous of. Well, some of these gods are Hindu gods. I'm so sure of it. And I'm sure the reason that they wrote the Bible was because they were jealous of these Hindu gods in the first place, because they're a jealous hearted people. And the reason why, because the only reason why you would choose to be an imposter of somebody, the only reason why you choose to impersonate somebody is a deep seated jealousy. If you cannot understand that, then you have a fundamental that's how you come to a sense of compassion for our particular enemies, is because it's, and then that's the sin of jealousy, right? That's it. I'm looking at something that I am not, and I wish that I could be that, and it's hurting me because I am not this. So how can I become that? And then in me, how can I stop it from connecting and being? Okay? So we have this fear. We have this fear because there are signs. There are signs that have been sent to these people. These people are seeing signs. In 2020, when the United Nations made a legal proclamation against the United States of America for crimes against Moabite, Israelite, Hebrew people, that was a huge sign. Now, if you already have these things, these things, and I'm not going to talk about the spiritual sign and the cosmic sign, because you really would need to study to be able to understand the prophecies. You would need to get a copy, not of the fake Bible that you have, but of the true African Bible that's out there, where they talk about these individuals, and there's prophecies that are in these books. You would have to know about the prophecies that actually exist. They're seeing all of these signs. They do not want you to know. They do not want you to know. Forget the fact that, it was a Jubilee year and blah, 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 blah. Above and even beyond that, they do not want you to know. And I received a confirmation, which is the reason why I'm on here. Okay? Their time is up. They are like an old woman flailing about who will die soon, who will succumb soon. She has but a little time. And I mean a little time. The way that technology is advancing, and the way that things are changing, they have but a little time. You hear people like Vladimir Putin speaking, and you're being made to not hear. And I'm not trying to feed you no communism or anything like that. I'm talking about the fact that people know what the prophecy is. There are people who know what the prophecy is. You don't get to sit in these seats and in these positions and not be of a certain spiritual caliber. Okay, and they'll throw these things out there, and then people are so distracted by all this dumb shit. Stop watching the damn Kardashians. I really would like to demand them being banned and removed from the whole entire country's consciousness. Stop watching all that shit. Stop paying attention to all this mess, because there is stuff that you need to be focusing on. And if you do not focus on it, that is why all of this distraction is going on. You are going to lose. They have made a declaration that our people will have no money and no income by the year 2034. They have a secret pact to completely, not to gentrify, to genocide our whole entire group of people by 2034. If they can't genocide us, to gentrify us, to remove us, and to try to replace us with other groups of people that they feel that they like better, that they feel are better people than you, just because of the color of their skin. This is extremely important, and it is the critical moment. It is the crucial moment for our people. It is make or break. It is ride or die. It is survive, sink or swim for our people, period. And you have people out here that, for those who can be saved, are out here doing everything that they possibly can, trying to pull people that are flailing in the water with their hands up, asking to be helped, trying to do that. Because you so-called woke people, that's where you're actually at. And that whole generation that has been double dealing against us, they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. You do know that. I hope you're prepared for that. As we talk about succession planning, these people don't have much time themselves. And they're living in regret because they haven't done everything that they know that they need to do. So the suggestion for them is to, while you're still here, while you still have the time, get it together and get it right. Go on ahead and get it right. Now they're afraid because they're seeing these signs. You hear these leaders telling you these times. If I don't know how many times Vladimir Putin has been talking in the last 3 or 4 years, just keep looking it up. He keeps talking about how the time of the West, the failure of the West, all of the horrible things in the West, it's coming down. I don't want it to come down and go down to communism, though I do believe in community, and I have lived in a communist nation for a great deal of time, and I am a privileged woman in a communist system because I am a highly educated, and not just highly educated, the knowledge and things that I have in a communist system provide power to the czar and to the emperor. He understands what it is that I bring to the table, and he honors that. I'm not broke in a communist system. I'm not begging in a communist system. I'm not sitting at somebody's table with them treating me like I am privileged to be there in a communist system. I know, because I just came from living in a communist system, and that is not how I was treated. That is not how I'm treated in a communist system. And I am used for exactly what it is that I bring to the table and nothing less. I am a leadership development expert, period. And a scientific one, a scientist. That is my science. And they are highly aware of the value of that. It's not a joke to them. That's why I was there, because it's not a joke. Okay. So anyway, you're sitting here and you're listening to these people, and they know what time it is. So we're in trouble. Internationally, there is trouble. There's trouble. This country was convicted of crimes. They still have not even dealt with that. They have not publicly, all of these people who are saying shut up to Kyrie and saying shut up to Kanye, these people want everybody to shut up. They have shut up. They've been shut up for 3 years and they have not said anything. And I was like, okay, yeah, this, that, and the other. Okay, it's not really this big thing. And I'm praying and I'm Shiva, Vishnu, to the guys, goddesses, and Meenakshi, with all of them. What's going on? And so I had a dream the other day, which is why I'm here, because I'm doing the long talking, but I have to make things make sense. And I saw what was birthed. And when I saw the child was about 2 or 3 years old. And so I said in my mind, let me count back to 2 or 3 years ago. So COVID, pre-COVID and COVID, that was a pregnancy time, 2019. I mean, we've been birthing this for a long time, but COVID was a birthing time. We gave birth to something in 2020. What we have given birth to is about to turn about 3 years old, The legitimate birth of a legitimate nation, a new nation. And they cannot touch her. The old system that they have is like an old woman. She's an old woman and she's dying. She's dying. God showed me some stuff. I don't want to reveal everything that I saw in the dream, but I'm going to say this too. Our colors, the colors of our nation, our colors have always been the same colors. Our colors have been given to us because the child that I saw was wearing a royal dress. And she is a female. It is a female. And she was dressed in her royal accoutrements. And she's about 2, maybe 3 years old. And she's wearing her accoutrements. And our colors are the colors that she had on are our colors. They are red, they are gold, and they are green, and they are white. Those are your true colors. That's the true color of your nation, of your identity. Not purple. Yes, you are a royal people, but you show your royalty through your flag. And I was so surprised because, I have declared, I know who I am and I know what I am, and I've declared that legally in this country. I've been naturalized. We don't even teach each other that we need to be naturalized. We keep talking about, oh yeah, other people come from foreign countries, and then they end up ahead of us because they get naturalized, because you still need to get naturalized. That's a whole nother video. You still need to be naturalized. You need to be naturalized. You need to be naturalized. You need your identity, and you need to be naturalized. But that's a whole nother ball game. I'm not even gonna deal with that. All right. So this thing has already been born. And the old woman was trying to touch and trying to play with the young baby, the little young uh black princess. And it was not to happen. It was not to happen. It couldn't happen. She ended up flailing and flailing around, and hurting herself trying to play with this baby, because it is not for them to be playing with us. It's not for them to be playing with you. It is not for them to be engaging with you. This old, decrepit, and perverted, and old system of things is not worthy of you. It does not have the right to, and it wasn't like people, um there was any men or women or anything that kept this the older woman, the older spirit, from touching the little girl. It's like she has her own power. She had her own power. And because have you ever seen a baby with an older person, and the older person is trying to chase the baby, trying to catch up with the baby, or is trying to play with the baby, and the baby just naturally wears the older person out, and the older person just cannot, they actually really literally just cannot keep up with this baby. I don't know if you've ever seen it. And so they just end up getting tired, and they end up going and sitting down somewhere, that old fashioned, go someplace and sit down. Like, you need to just go someplace and sit down because you can't keep up. That's what happened. It was natural. There was no interference from any men. And there were men that were around her. There were people that were around her that were protecting her. But she was just bouncing and doing her little thing. And the old woman was trying to touch and deal with her, and she was just literally getting exhausted. She just really seriously could not touch this baby or deal with this little black baby. She just couldn't do it on her own. She just did not have the capacity, the energy, the strength, the anything to be able to really sit down and deal with this child, with this royal child. And the child is beautiful. And that's us. That's us. The child represents us. That's what the child represents. And you could see the despair in the old woman, and the fear in the old woman. Like, I'm trying to keep up with this child, and I need to stay in this parade, and I need to be a part of this, and I really seriously literally cannot do this. And I am in a great deal of despair. And there is fear. Whenever people tell you to not speak the truth, there's fear. There is absolute fear. This is, going to end in what it needs to end in. It's going to end in two things. Because I don't get on here, and I don't really do this. I do not do this because unless I'm actually forced to do it. And literally, I was forced this morning. I got up for our celebrations, and I have a temple in my house, and the spirits have just been here all morning in the house with me. They've just been here in the house with me, and I'm just like, and they've been on me, and they're like, we are telling you, we've been telling you to go and to tell your people, talk to your people. You need to warn your people and tell your people that they have got to get their stuff together. Okay. Um, we are, it's wrestling with me for the last 2 days. We're like the elephant with the chain around its leg. you know um we have the ability to pull that chain off of us just by continuing to move with the force that we need to move with. um Expecting leadership. I was placed in the home of Franklin Heyman, who is a free speech advocate before he died. I was actually ended up being in his house as a caregiver. I didn't know who I was caring for, but in my struggles and my need to, um, take care of myself and to eat, because here in the United States of America, because of the, disrespect that I face, here in this country, I have actually worked as a home health aide with a PhD. I've done that. And it has turned out to be, it was a blessing to me because I ended up taking care of, some wonderful people. And when I was with him and with his wife, he was not able to speak, but when I was with his wife was the one who ended up parlaying and allowing me to see, and talking to me about his works and his writing and what her interpretation of all those things were when I was able to be there with him. And I will tell you that Group Leadership is a book that he wrote. And, you know, as a people, the expectation of right now, we're being force fed leaders, but the people that have been force feeding us leadership, well, they're going to lose their capacity to even do that. I'm not afraid because I have seen the loss of a capacity. There's a loss of a capacity that's coming, for our enemies. Our enemies are losing steam, they're losing capacity, um and they know that they are, so they're ratcheting up a lot of different things to try to hold on. But I mean, there's just some things that the time has come for certain things, and I want to say to, people who run around and say things like Bill Maher, that, one man has always been made to be another man's bitch. When you are being bent over, don't holla. Don't holla. Don't holla. When you get bent over the next time, don't holler. Don't ask nobody to, um, to feel sorry for you, because basically you've been a bully. You've been a buck breaker, and you've been a bully for quite a bit of time. And that being said, that being said, don't holla, because you're about to be bent. You know how people get old and they just get bent over and they can't stand up straight no more? some people, because of all of what they do, they literally go into that position and they stay in that position. And there's no karmic mistake as far as that's concerned. So I want to say that um we have power. We need to know the power that we have, and we need to know how to use that power. It's a conscious power, you know, a consciousness. When I think of what I saw with the child and the older lady, that child was really actually, now I'm sitting there thinking, using her mind, to, and just, operating in that, and able to avoid, being able to avoid dealing with certain things, you know. Um, we're going to have to, those who are conscious, if you're conscious and you really are chosen, then you hear me and you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. If you're conscious and you're chosen and you are supposed to be a part of the, the honor and the glory, that is coming, then you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. And I don't have to continue to talk to you, or tell you any of those things. But you definitely, have to be made aware of that. Stop. Stop buying from the enemies. Stop buying from the enemies. Stop, just very slowly and very subtly. Stop buying and stop patronizing as much as you possibly can. I know that it's virtually impossible to do right now, but a plan has to be created. And these people, the elders, cannot create that plan for the newer generation. The younger people are for creating your responsible for creating your own plan, and you're responsible for creating the life and the that you want to live, and you're responsible for creating the world that you want to live in. You are responsible for that. You're responsible for that. And waiting on these people, who the older people who are corrupt, Israel could not go into the promised land. These people are not going to see it. They're not going to be able to experience it. And they know that they're not going to be able to experience it. They know that they don't deserve it. They have raped and robbed and exploited, in order to create things that are not that are not really of God, in the name of them being in you know for their own personal satisfaction. There is a judgment and a wrath. There is a judgment on these people. These people, you know, a lot of the elders are actually, they're under judgment. They are actually really seriously under judgment because of things that they have done. And a lot of them wish that they could change and do things differently, but they did so much dirt back in their past. They cannot. They're in a hole, and they will die in the hole that they dug themselves. They will be buried there, and their epithets will be put on top of that. And it's going to say what it's going to say, which is going to be the truth about what they did in this body, in this lifetime. Yeah, they will be able to be reborn, thank goodness. That's the good part about it, is you get a new body and you get to come back again, and you can try to do it over, the right way. And a lot of them do, but they're going to face karma and when they come back here, they're going to face karma because of all the dirt that they've done in this life, and in this body, and there's nothing other than really working really hard to change their consciousness and change the karma that they created before they leave, that they can possibly do. So expect some decent things as far as that is concerned. Don't be afraid, because God is here. He's in a body and he's here. He's on a mountain and he's here. You know, it's time out for all of the riddles. A lot of these things have been exposed. You can go and get your consciousness, and become aligned with the pure consciousness, which is Shiva consciousness, Shiva Twa. You can do that yourself. You can take a tour over to Kailasa yourself. You can participate in these Paramashivas. You can learn about Hinduism and learn about these truths. Do not accept that half garbage that's going around. Don't accept this garbage that's going around, because this stuff, all of these other things were literally created to literally stifle and stifle humanity. There is a source and there is a truth, and it's Vedas. It is the Vedic scriptures. It is Vedism. It's the only thing that was written down. Our ancestors in Africa did not. They wrote things down in the Adinka codes and stuff like that, but they did not keep it the way that they should have. And in our incarnation as Tamils, that was when we did the things that we were supposed to do. That's where those records start from. And don't be afraid. Don't let anybody make you ashamed or feel ashamed. You have the curiosity. You want to see God in a body. Go look at Nityananda. Go look at him. Go see him. For yourself. You can go and experience these things for yourself. You don't need anybody to and free yourself to do the things that you need to do. And be prepared. Be prepared for a battle. How are you going to fight for your justice? How are you going to fight for your social justice? Because the political system that we have in place is not going to give that to you. Even though it's in place to give that to you, it's not designed to give that to you. You have to move beyond all of that. It's supposed to be a release for you, but it's not made for you. That's not how we are as a people. There is so much beyond all of that. And they're coming. These wicked people, these same wicked people who have used and abused us, they're coming. They're on their way back. They gotta have another election. You already hearing from Obama running around calling people Looney Tunes. I have never seen a human being make so many disabled comments and get a pass. I have never heard another human being say that, and God has spoke to me about that, and God has something to say to him about it. I said, well, God, you just go and knock on Obama's door and you tell him, so that you tell him so that he can understand what you just told me. And I bet you he'll stop. I bet you he'll stop making those comments, and I bet you he'll apologize. So I pray for all of the people who have participated in the den of the devil, who may have dark records and who may have created even dark Akashic records that want to come out of that. I pray for you. I pray that the way to your enlightenment be shown to you so that you are able to actually see the way to your enlightenment, and that the courage, the integrity, and the actual methods that you need in order to actually get you to that space arrive for you swiftly. I'm gonna just I'm gonna release that right now. Um, And I'm going to say that if you want real leadership, if you're looking for a real leader and you want real leadership and you don't want somebody that's going, you don't want to play, we have to get together and do this as a group. And that is my idea. That was the idea that was shown to me for people for the ethical treatment of African Americans, that there would be, just different committees that were just run by different people that had different interests, you know, um, that were beneficial to um, us as a people. You know, athletes should be able to speak their mind. These fans have the audacity to be angry about these athletes speaking their mind. But if these athletes decided that they didn't want to get up and they didn't want to bounce no ball, and if they had real leadership, they wouldn't be bouncing the ball this year for me. I'm telling you. I mean, they were out for COVID and people had acted like they were going to die because the game shuttered for COVID. They should shutter over some political issues that are going on right now, because these people have things that they want to say and they can't even say it. Kyrie Irving is the president of the National Basketball Players Association. So he is literally their leader. And not one of those people that are following him have stood up to basically voice a positive opinion concerning Kyrie, because they're so afraid, and also because they're so unprepared. They make all that money. A lot of them haven't saved any money. They're afraid of their kids not being, even if they have the money, they're afraid of their kids not being able to come into the league. I'm sure LeBron is very vocal, but he needs to get two sons in the league right now. So if he opens up his mouth, his kids might not be able to get in the league. I think that you're going to see a whole new LeBron James once Bronny and Bryce are in the league, though, because he will have accomplished his goal, and he'll be even ready to sit down, and he does have the money and he has a conscience, and every time he has opened his mouth to speak, they keep telling him to shut up. Well, he's smart enough to shut up for his kids to get in there. But it doesn't make any sense to me that we should be censored the way that we are being censored. Freedom of speech doesn't really actually exist for us. And we don't know about anti-defamation and anti-defamation laws, and these anti-defamation laws are now being used against us, and the anti-defamation laws were originally created by us and for us, because of the propensity of society to defame us as a group of people. There has been anti-defamation leagues for Moorish and Israelite people. You don't have them anymore. And so now we have to sit up all day, 24 hours a day, and listen to all this evil and all this negativity about us as a people and about us as a group. Meanwhile, the people who are doing the most dirt to everybody are, I get to hide. I get to be, protected. And no truth can be spoken. You cannot speak the truth to me. That is the sign that you need to know that Satan is here. He has a synagogue and he has his servants. Because he's the chief liar. And everything that he built is built on a lie. But the truth is here. The truth always appears. And they're afraid. They're afraid of that. And don't take just that little piece of your truth either. Go on ahead and study Vedism. They take you in this stupid movie to Sarastri and to Lord Brahma. Go and study Vedism because it's your history. It's the truth of your history. It's time to take that Bible and put that Bible away. Period. Point blank. It's over for that book.